I wouldn't have the Scotland Yarders know it for the world.
Now, the Daily Telegraph is blaming political refugees for the crime.
Balderdash.
Well, the writing on the wall did point to a German.
A real German, Watson, invariably prints in the Latin character, so that we may safely say that this was not written by one, but by a clumsy imitator who overdid his part. It was simply a ruse to divert inquiry into a wrong channel by suggesting socialism and secret societies.
We are glad to learn that Mr. Lestrade and Mr. Gregson of Scotland Yard are both engaged upon the case, and it is confidently anticipated that these well-known officers will speedily throw light upon the matter.
Ha! Didn't I tell you that whatever happens, Lestrade and Gregson will be certain to score?
Oh, surely that depends on how it turns out.
Oh, bless you, it doesn't matter in the least. If the man is caught, it will be on account of their exertions. If he escapes, it will be in spite of them.
Anything interesting in that telegram you received?
Very little, save for the name of the murderer.
Oh, pity. What?
Now, we're going to hear some news with a vengeance. Come in, Gregson.
Congratulate me, gentlemen. I've made the whole thing as clear as day.
You mean you're on the right track, Inspector?
The right track. Why, we have the man under lock and key, Doctor.
And his name is?
Arthur Charpentier, sub-lieutenant in Her Majesty's Navy.
Take a seat, Gregson, and try one of these cigars. We're anxious to know how you managed it. Will you have some whiskey and water?
I don't mind if I do. The tremendous exertions I've gone through during the last day or two have worn me out. Not so much bodily exertions, you understand, as the strain upon the mind. You'll appreciate that, Mr. Holmes. We're both brain workers. Thank you.
You do me too much honor. Let us hear how you've arrived at this most gratifying result.
The fun of it is that Lestrade, who thinks himself so smart, has gone off upon the wrong track altogether. He's after the secretary, Stangerson, who had no more to do with the crime than a babe unborn. Now, the first difficulty was in the finding of this American's antecedents. You probably won't remember, but there was a hat beside the dead man.
By John Underwood and Sons, 129 Camberwell Road.
Oh, I had no idea you'd noticed that. Have you been there?
No.
Well, you should never neglect a chance, Mr. Holmes, no matter how small it may seem.
To a great mind, nothing is small.
Quite. Well, I went to Underwood and asked him to look over his books. He'd sent the hat to a Mr. Drebber, residing at Charpentier's boarding establishment, Torquay Terrace. Thus, I got his address.
Smart. Very smart.
When I called upon Madame Charpentier, I found her very pale and distressed. She was looking red about the eyes, and her lips trembled as I spoke to her. That didn't escape my notice. You know the feeling, Mr. Holmes, when you come upon the right scent, a kind of a thrill in your nerves. Well, I fixed her with my eye in a way I have always found effective with women, and through careful questioning, I was soon able to get at the truth.
Which was?
Drebber and Stangerson had been staying at that establishment for nearly 3 weeks. Stangerson was a quiet, reserved man, but his employer was coarse in his habits and brutish in his ways. The very night of his arrival, he became very much the worse for drink, and after 12 o'clock in the day, he could hardly ever be said to be sober.
Well, why didn't the landlady give them notice? Surely she could get rid of her boarders when she wished.
They were paying £1 a day each, Doctor, and this is the slack season. The lady is a widow, and her son in the Navy has cost her much.
The money must have been a sore temptation.
Exactly. But eventually, she did give Drebber notice to leave. You see, his manners towards the maidservants were disgustingly free and familiar, and he speedily assumed the same attitude towards Madame Charpentier's daughter, Alice. On one occasion, he actually seized her in his arms and embraced her, an outrage which caused his own secretary to reproach him for his unmanly conduct.
And at what o'clock did they leave the boarding house?
8. Madame Charpentier heard Stangerson say there were 2 trains, one at 9:15 and one at 11, and they planned to catch the first. But they evidently missed it, because Drebber returned to the house less than an hour later, and very much the worse for drink. He then proceeded to propose that Alice Charpentier should fly with him.
Good gracious.
He said, well, let me see. Yes. You are of age, and there's no law to stop you. I have money enough and to spare. Never mind the old girl, but come along with me straight away. You shall live like a princess. Well, the girl was so frightened that she shrunk away from him, but he caught her by the wrist and endeavored to draw her towards the door, at which point Madame Charpentier's son Arthur came into the room. He's on leave at present. Did I forget to mention that?
You did, Inspector, but I gathered it all the same.
Well, there was a scuffle. Then Drebber's out of the house with young Arthur in pursuit, carrying an oak cudgel in his hand. Madame Charpentier can't say what time her son returned home. He has his own latchkey, but he hadn't returned when she went to bed at 11. I traced the lieutenant to a nearby alehouse. When I touched him on the shoulder and warned him to come quietly, he answered as bold as brass. Hang on. I suppose you're arresting me for the death of that scoundrel Drebber. I'd said nothing about it, so that his alluding to it had a most suspicious aspect.
So, what is your theory, Gregson?
In my opinion, he followed Drebber as far as the Brixton Road. When there, a fresh altercation arose between them, in the course of which Drebber received a blow from the stick, in the pit of the stomach, perhaps, which killed him without leaving a mark. The night was so wet that no one was about, so Charpentier dragged the body of his victim into the empty house. As to the candle and the blood and the writing on the wall and the ring, they may all have been so many tricks to throw the police onto the wrong scent.
But, Inspector, what about...
Well done. Really, Gregson, you're coming along. We shall make something of you yet.
I flatter myself that I managed it rather neatly. Charpentier claims he chased Drebber, but the American jumped into a cab in order to get away from him. On his way home, he met an old shipmate, and they took a long walk with him. On being asked where this shipmate lived, he was unable to give any satisfactory reply. The whole case fits together uncommonly well. What amuses me is to think of Lestrade. He's on completely the wrong scent.
Good morning, Lestrade.
Lestrade.
This is a most extraordinary case, Mr. Holmes. A most incomprehensible affair.
Ah, you find it so, do you? I thought it might prove too much for you.
Hey, Inspector, have you managed to find the secretary, Stangerson?
Mr. Joseph Stangerson was murdered at Halliday's private hotel about 6 o'clock this morning.
The plot
It
thickens.
was already thick enough for my liking.
Lestrade, are you sure of this piece of intelligence?
I've just come from the room. I was the first to discover the body.
Poisoned, no doubt.
Stabbed, Mr. Holmes. A milk boy on his way to the dairy saw the murderer. As he walked down the lane at the back of the hotel, he saw a man descend from a ladder propped against one of the windows of the second floor. Came down so openly, the boy managed him to be some carpenter or joiner at work in the hotel.
A description, Lestrade.
He was a tall man with a reddish face, and he was dressed in a long brownish coat.
Holmes, the man with the floated face again.
He must have stayed in the room some little time after the murder. I found blood-stained water in the basin where he washed his hands.
Did you find nothing in the room which could furnish a clue to the murderer?
A purse with 80-odd pounds in it. Whatever the motives of these extraordinary crimes, it isn't robbery. A telegram dated from Cleveland a month ago and containing the words, J.H. is in Europe, and a small chip ointment box containing a couple of pills.
The last link. My case is complete. Lestrade, could you lay your hands upon those pills?
I've got them here. I was taking them to the station, but I'm bound to say that I don't attach any importance to them.
Thank you. I now have in my hands all the threads which have formed such a tangle. There are, of course, details to be filled in, but I'm as certain of all the main facts from the time Drebber parted from Stangerson at the station up to the discovery of the body of the latter as if I'd seen them with my own eyes. Dr. Watson, are these ordinary pills?
Let me see. No, certainly not. From their lightness and transparency, I should imagine they're soluble in water.
Precisely so. Now, gentlemen, if you'll give me an hour of your time, I expect to be able to tell you the precise nature of these pills.
How much longer?
Well, Mr. Holmes?
Fascinating. Of the two pills in that box, one is a quick-acting poison, and the other entirely harmless. Of course, I ought to have known that before I ever saw the box at all.
Now, look here, Mr. Holmes. We're all ready to acknowledge that you're a smart man, but we want something more than mere theory and preaching now. It's a case of taking the murderer. You've thrown out hints here and hints there, but the time has come when we have a right to ask you straight. Can you name the man who did it?
I can. The
The
mere knowing of his name is a small thing, however, compared with the power of laying our hands upon him. If he had the slightest suspicion, he'd change his name and vanish in an instant among the 4 million inhabitants of this great city. Without meaning to hurt either of your feelings, I'm bound to say that I consider this man to be more than a match for the official force.
I have to agree with Inspector Gregson, Holmes. Any delay in arresting the assassin might give him time to perpetrate some fresh atrocity.
There will be no more murders.
Are you expecting another visitor, Mr. Holmes?
Perhaps someone to see the landlady, Mrs. Turner.
Mrs. Hudson, Watson. I say, Lestrade, why don't you introduce this pattern of handcuffs at Scotland Yard? See how beautifully the spring works?
Your pattern's good enough if we can only find the man to put them on.
Come.
Someone ordered a cab.
Over here, my man. Just give me a hand with these boxes. Give the fellow some room, Doctor.
Sure. Is it the buckle?
What the hell?
Gentlemen, Allow me to introduce you to Mr. Jefferson Hope, the murderer of Enoch Drebber and Joseph Stangerson.
Appreciate this is against strict regulations, gentlemen, but you've provided so much assistance, Mr. Holmes, I thought it only right that you should be here for the questioning.
Most kind, Gregson.
Will Inspector Lestrade be joining us?
He's got his work cut out for him, trying to find a new home for the murderer's horse. A cabman. Who'd have believed it?
Oh, it's you.
Jefferson Hope, you're to be put before the magistrates in the course of the week. In the meantime, have you anything you wish to say? I must warn you that your words will be taken down and may be used against you.
I've got a good deal to say.
Think about saving some of it for your trial.
I may never be tried. It's not suicide I'm thinking of. You're a doctor, right?
That's correct.
Then put your hand here on my chest. Feel that?
Good Lord. You have an aortic aneurysm.
That's what they call it. I got it from overexposure and underfeeding among the Salt Lake Mountains. Went to a doctor last week and he told me it's bound to burst before many days pass, but I've done my work now and I don't care how soon I go. But I'd like to leave some account of the business behind me. I don't want to be remembered as a common cutthroat. I'm on the brink of the grave and I'm not likely to lie to you.
Do you consider, Doctor, that there's an immediate danger?
Most certainly there is.
In that case, Mr. Hope, it is clearly my duty in the interest of justice to take your statement.
Every word I'm about to say is the absolute truth, and how you use it is of no consequence to me. It don't much matter to you why I hated these men. It's enough that they were guilty of the death of another human being. A girl named Lucy Ferrier. After the lapse of time that's passed since their crime, it was impossible for me to secure a conviction against them in any court. But I knew of their guilt, and I determined that I should be judge, jury, and executioner all rolled into one. You'd have done the same if you had any manhood in you, if you'd been in my place.
That's a very bold assumption, Hope.
The girl I spoke of was to have married me 20 years ago. She was forced into marrying Drebber and broke her heart over it. I took the marriage ring from her dead finger and I vowed that his dying eyes should rest upon that very ring, and that his last thought should be of the crime of which he was being punished. I carried it about with me and I followed him and his accomplice over 2 continents until I caught him.
The accomplice was Stangerson, the secretary.
That's right. Well, they were rich and I was poor, so it was no easy matter for me to follow them. When I got to London, my pocket was about empty, and I found I had to turn my hand to something for my living. Driving and riding are as natural to me as walking, so I applied at a cab owner's office and soon got employment. It was some time before I found out where my 2 gentlemen were living. Once I found them, I knew I had them at my mercy. Go where they would about London, I was always at their heels. They were very cunning, though. They'd never go out alone, never after nightfall. They must have thought there was some chance of their being followed.
The telegram, J.H., is in Europe.
For 2 weeks, I drove behind them every day. Never once saw them separate. Drebber was drunk half the time, but Stangerson wouldn't be caught napping. At last, one evening, I was driving up and down Turkway Terrace when I saw a cab drive up their boarding house. Presently, some luggage was brought out, and after a time, Drebber and Stangerson followed it and drove off. I whipped up my horse and kept within sight of them. At Euston Station, they got out, and I left a boy to hold my horse and followed them on the platform. I heard him ask for the Liverpool train, and the guard said one had just gone, and there wouldn't be another for some hours.
You see, I was right. They did miss their train.
Congratulations, Gregson. Do go on, Mr. Hope.
Drebber said he had a little business of his own, and they arranged to meet at Halliday's private hotel. The moment for which I'd waited so long had come at last. Together they could protect each other, but singly they were at my mercy. Drebber went into a liquor shop, and when he came out, he was pretty drunk. There was a hansom just in front of me, and he hailed it. I followed it, so close the nose of my horse was within a yard of his driver all the way.
All the way back to Torquay Terrace.
That's right. He entered the boarding house, and then his hansom drove away. I waited for a quarter of an hour when suddenly there came a noise like people struggling inside the house. Next moment, the door was flung open and Drebber ran out, chased by a young feller I'd never seen before.
Driver! You there! Take me to Halliday's private hotel. And don't stop.
When I had him fairly inside my cab, my heart jumped so with joy that I feared my aneurysm might go wrong. I drove along, weighing in my own mind what it was best to do. It chanced that some days before, a gentleman who'd been engaged in looking over some houses in Brixton Road had dropped the key to one of the houses in my carriage.
So, you had access to at least one spot in London where you could be free from interruption.
It was near 1 and 12, a wild, bleak night, blowing hard and raining in torrents. Dismal as it was outside, I was glad within. So glad that I could have shouted out from pure exultation. If any of you gentlemen have ever pined for a thing and longed for it during 20 long years, and then suddenly found it within reach, you'd understand my feelings. I lit a cigar and puffed at it to steady my nerves, but my hands were trembling and my temples throbbing with excitement. As I drove, I could see sweet Lucy looking at me out of the darkness and smiling at me, just as plain as I see you all in this room. Wake up, Governor. Wake up.
Are we there?
Holiday's private hotel, sir, just like you asked. Here, let me give you a hand. Here we are, Mr. Drebber.
It's infernally dark.
We'll soon have a light.
How did you know my name? Did I tell you my name?
Now, Enoch Drebber, who am I?
No.
I've hunted you
What?
from Salt Lake City to St. Petersburg,
I don't even...
and you've always escaped me. Now at last your wanderings have come to an end. What do you think of Lucy Ferrier now? Punishment has been slow in coming, but it's overtaken you at last.
I didn't kill her.
You broke her innocent heart. From that day on, she was as good as dead.
Would you murder me?
There'll be no murder. Let the high God judge between us. There are 2 pills in this box. Choose and eat. There's death in one and life in the other.
You're mad.
I said eat. Now, I'll take the other. Let's see if there's justice upon the earth or if we're ruled by chance.
Nothing is happening. It's you. You got it.
The pulses in my temples beat like sledgehammers, and I believe I would have had a fit of some sort if the blood hadn't gushed from my nose. I don't know what put it into my head to write Racha on the wall with it. Maybe some mischievous idea of setting the police on the wrong track. The night was still pretty wild when I walked back to my cab. Nobody was about.
At what point did you realize you'd lost your fiancée's ring?
When I put my hand into the pocket in which I usually kept it. It was the only memento that I had of my Lucy. So I drove back. I was ready to dare anything rather than lose the ring. I left my cab in a side street, but when I arrived at the house, I walked right into the arms of a police officer.
Constable Rance. But you managed to disarm his suspicions by pretending to be hopelessly drunk.
I shall have a word with Constable Rance.
So much for Enoch Drebber, but Stangerson was a different matter. When you confronted him in his hotel room, he refused to take the pill you offered him.
He flew at my throat. In self-defense, I stabbed him to the heart. It would have been the same in any case, for Providence would never have allowed his guilty hand to pick out anything but the poison. You may consider me to be a murderer, but I hold that I'm just as much an officer of justice as you are. Well, I went on cabinet for a day or so until I could save enough to take me back to America. I was standing in the yard when a ragged youngster appeared, said my cab was wanted, led me to this address.
That would be Wiggins, one of my Baker Street irregulars. I gave him your description. There's more work to be got out of one of those little beggars than out of a dozen of the official force. No offense, Gregson.
Next thing I knew, this gentleman had the bracelets on my wrists. That's the whole story. And it's as well where I'm about done.
One more question, please, Mr. Hope. Who was your accomplice who came for the ring which I advertised?
Well, sir, now I can tell my own secrets, but I don't get other folks in trouble. I saw your advertisement, thought it might be a plant. My friend volunteered to go and see. I think you'll own he did it smartly.
Not a doubt of that.
Don't take it too much to heart, Mr. Holmes. The way you kept on my trail was a caution. If there's a vacant place for a chief of police in these parts, I reckon you're the man for it.
Steady on, Mr. Hope.
The public have lost a sensational treat through the sudden death of Jefferson Hope, who was suspected of the murder of Mr. Enoch Drebber and Mr. Joseph Stangerson. The details of the case will probably never be known now, though we are informed that the crime was the result of an old, outstanding romantic feud. It is an open secret that the credit for this smart capture belongs entirely to the well-known Scotland Yard officials, Messrs. Lestrade and Gregson.
It's heads I win and tails you lose. Never mind. I wouldn't have missed this investigation for anything. Simple as it was, there were several most instructive points about it.
Simple?
Well, really. Can hardly be described as otherwise.
It may seem simple to you, Holmes, but I'm as much in the dark as before. Within minutes of entering that house on Lauderston Gardens, you were able to describe Hope's age, his height, his florid face, even his preferred brand of cigar, and the fact that he had long fingernails. Now, how did you deduce all that?
I'm not sure I should tell you.
Yeah?
A conjurer gets no credit once he's explained his trick, and if I show you too much of my method of working, you'll come to the conclusion that I'm a very ordinary individual after all.
I'll never do that. You've brought detection as near an exact science as it'll ever be brought in this world.
Thank you, old chap. Very well. The footprints on the path told me that the nocturnal visitors were two in number, one wearing square-toed boots and the other, to judge from the small and elegant impression, fashionably dressed. On entering the house, my well-booted man lay before me. Square-toes, then, had done the murder. Having sniffed the dead man's lips, I detected a slightly sour smell and came to the conclusion that he'd been poisoned. Now, the height of a man, in 9 cases out of 10, can be told from the length of his stride. I had this fellow's stride on the clay outside the house and the dust within. Then I had a way of checking my calculation. When a man writes on a wall, his instinct leads him to write above the level of his own eyes. That writing was just over 6 feet from the ground. The plaster was slightly scratched, which wouldn't have been the case if his nails had been trimmed.
And his age? The prime of life, you said.
There was a puddle measuring 4.5 feet on the garden walk, which Square-Toes had hopped over. If a man can stride such a distance without the smallest effort, he can't be in his declining years. As for the cigar, I gathered up some dark and flaky ash from the floor. I flatter myself that I can distinguish at a glance the ash of any known brand of either cigar or tobacco.
Astonishing. But what about the florid face?
Since there were no signs of a struggle, the blood which covered the floor must have burst from the murderer's nose in his excitement. The track of blood coincided with the track of his feet. What was the motive, if not robbery? The discovery of the ring settled that question. Clearly, the murderer had used it to remind his victim of some dead or absent woman.
So you telegraphed to Cleveland?
To the head of police, limiting my enquiry to the circumstances connected with the marriage of Enoch Drebber. The reply said that Drebber had applied for the protection of the law against an old rival in love named Jefferson Hope. I now knew the name of the murderer. All that remained was to lay my hands upon him.
No small task. How long was it before you realized Hope was working as a cab driver?
Oh, I knew that before I knew anything else.
Impossible.
By no means. The very first thing I observed on arriving at Lauriston Gardens was that a cab had made 2 ruts with its wheels close to the curb. We'd had no rain for a week until the night of the murder, so the cab must have been there after the rain began, and since it wasn't there at any time during the morning, it follows that it must have brought those 2 individuals to the house.
But Hope might have been another passenger.
The marks in the road showed that the horse had wandered on in a way which would have been impossible had there been anyone in charge of it. Where would the driver be, except inside the house? It's absurd to suppose that any sane man would carry out a deliberate crime under the very eyes of a third person who was sure to betray him. And supposing one man wished to dog another through London, what better means could he adopt than to turn cab driver?
Wonderful, Holmes. Your marriage should be publicly recognized. Oh, you should publish an account of this case. And if you won't, I will.
Do as you wish, old fellow, but I warn you now, I can't imagine that the public would be particularly interested in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. And I have you to thank for it all. I might not have gone but for you, and so have missed the finest study I have ever come across. A study in scarlet. There's a scarlet thread of murder running through the colourless skein of life, and our duty is to unravel it, to isolate it, and expose every inch of it.
Study in Scarlet. Not a bad title.
You have been listening to A Study in Scarlet by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Adapted by M.J. Eliot and starring John Patrick Lowry as Sherlock Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. John H. Watson, with Rick May as Inspector Lestrade and John Murray as Inspector Gregson. Also in the cast were David Natali as young Stamford, Dennis Bateman as Enoch Drebber, and John Armstrong in the role of Jefferson Hope. Other parts were played by members of the cast. Sound effects were provided by Curtis Takahashi and Frank Rosine. Our engineer was Jason Shavey. Incidental music was by Michael Lynch, and our violinist is Coral Sepulveda. With direction by Lawrence Albert and production by Jim French, The Classic Adventures of Sherlock Holmes is a copyrighted feature of Jim French Productions. It was recorded before a live audience at the Kirkland Performance Center, Kirkland, Washington. For more information on this and our other series and CD offerings, go to harrynile.com on the web. This is Dennis Bateman speaking. The Classic Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, featuring John Patrick Lowry as Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson. Tonight, The Dancing Men.
Though Mr. Hilton Cubitt was not a rich man, his people had lived at Ridingthorpe Manor for 5 centuries, and there is no better-known family in the county of Norfolk. Last year, he came up to London for the Jubilee and stopped at a boarding house in Russell Square. It was there he met Miss Elsie Patrick, an American lady. They became friends, and before the month was up, Hilton Cubitt was as much in love as a man could be.
Hilton, there's something you should know.
What is it, Elsie, dear?
I have had some very disagreeable associations in my life, and I wish to forget all about them. I would rather never allude to the past, for it is very painful to me. If you take me, Hilton, you will take a woman who has nothing that she need be personally ashamed of, but you will have to be content with my word for it, and allow me to be silent as to all that passed up to the time before I became yours. If these conditions are too hard, then go back to Norfolk, and leave me to the lonely life which you found me.
Elsie, my dear, I would never do any such thing. If that is what you wish, then, well, it's little enough to ask.
Oh, you're a good man, Hilton. Too good for me. I know there's not a man in England who ranks his family honor more highly. I promise you I would never bring any stain upon it.
He and Elsie were quietly married at a registry office and returned to Norfolk, a wedded couple. It was about a year after their marriage that the first signs of trouble appeared. One day at the end of June, Elsie received a letter from America.
As she read it, she turned deadly white and threw it into the fire. She made no allusion to it afterwards, and neither did her husband. But Elsie never knew an easy hour from that moment.
I think we might have to get rid of this stable boy, my dear.
Oh, no. Whatever for?
Well, I found a drawing of some absurd little dancing figures scrawled with chalk on one of the windowsills. I had them washed off, of course, and the lad claims he knows nothing about it, but I can't think what... Elsie, whatever is the matter?
Hilton, if any more drawings appear, I want to see them. Do you understand?
None did come for a week, and then one morning Cubit found a paper under a pedal upon the sundial in the garden. He showed it to Elsie, and down she dropped in a dead faint. Next morning a fresh crop of dancing men appeared, drawn in chalk upon the black wooden door of the tool house. Cubit rubbed out the marks, but 2 mornings later a fresh inscription appeared. The same message appeared 3 days later, scrawled upon paper and lying once more on the sundial. After that, Cubit determined to lie in wait for the intruder, and spent the night set up in his study, armed with his revolver.
Who's there?
Hilton, for pity's sake, please come to bed.
Not until I've seen the fellow who's playing such absurd tricks upon us.
It's just some senseless practical joke. You shouldn't take any notice of it. If it really annoys you, Hilton, we might go and travel, you and I.
What, be driven out of our own house by a practical joker? We should have the whole county laughing at us.
Come to bed and we can discuss it in...
What? Elsie, what is it? There's someone out there, isn't there?
Hilton, no!
Let go.
No!
Let go of me, Elsie. No. Show yourself,
No!
damn it! Show your face!
So, Watson, you do not propose to invest in South African securities?
No, I gave the matter some thought, and... Holmes, how on earth did you know that?
Now, confess yourself utterly taken aback.
I am.
I ought to make you sign a paper to that effect.
Why?
Because in 5 minutes you will say it is all so absurdly simple.
I assure you I shall say nothing of the kind.
It was not really difficult, by an inspection of the groove between your left forefinger and thumb, to feel sure that you did not propose to invest your small capital in the goldfields.
My left... I see no connection.
Very likely not, but I can quickly show you a close connection. 1, you had chalk between your left finger and thumb when you returned from the club last night. 2, you put chalk there when you play billiards to steady the cue. 3, you never play billiards except with Thurston. 4, you told me 4 weeks ago that Thurston had an option on some South African property which would expire in a month and which he desired you to share with him. 5, your checkbook is locked in my drawer and you have not asked for the key. 6, you do not propose to invest your money in this manner.
Oh... How absurdly simple.
Quite. Well, let's see what you can make of this, friend Watson.
A group of stick figures in a row. Holmes, it's a child's drawing. What else could it be?
That, Watson, is what Mr. Hilton Cubit of Ridingthorpe Manor, Norfolk, is very anxious to know. This little conundrum came by the first post, and he is following by the next train. He was to reach Liverpool Street at 1:20. He may be here at any moment. Ah! And I should not be very much surprised if this were he.
Well, Mr. Holmes, what do you make of it? They told me that you were fond of queer mysteries, and I don't think you can find a queerer one than that. I sent those papers on ahead so that you might have time to study them before I came.
It is certainly rather a curious production. At first sight, it would appear to be some childish prank. It consists of a number of absurd little figures dancing across the paper upon which they are drawn. Mr. Cubit, why should you attribute any importance to so grotesque an object as these dancing men?
I never should, Mr. Holmes, but my wife does. It's frightening Elsie to death. She says nothing, but I can see terror in her eyes. There's always a look of fear upon her face, a look as if she were waiting and expecting. This business is getting on my nerves, too. It's bad enough to feel that you're surrounded by unseen, unknown folk who have some kind of design upon you. But when, in addition to that, you know that it's just killing your wife by inches, then it becomes as much as flesh and blood can endure. She's wearing away under it, just wearing away before my eyes.
Don't you think that your best plan would be to make a direct appeal to your wife, and then to ask her to share her secret with you?
A promise is a promise, Dr. Watson. If Elsie wished to tell me, she would. If not, it's not for me to force her confidence. And yet there have been times when the poor girl has wanted to speak and couldn't quite bring herself to. I've tried to help her, but I dare say I did it clumsily and scared her from it. She's spoken about my old family and our reputation in the county and our pride and our unsullied honor, and I always felt it was leading to the point, but somehow, if she would only trust me, she'd find I was her best friend. But until she speaks, I can say nothing. Mind you, she is a truthful woman, and whatever trouble there may have been in her past life, it has been no fault of hers. Anyway, I am justified in taking my own line, and I will.
Then I will help you with all my heart. In the first place, have you heard of any strangers being seen in your neighborhood?
No.
I presume it's a very quiet place. Any fresh face would cause comment?
In the immediate neighborhood, yes. But we have several small watering places not very far away, and the farmers take in lodgers.
It is 1,000 pities that we do not have a reproduction of those dancing men which were drawn in chalk upon the window-sill. Now, this line you discovered upon your door, was this a mere addition to the first, or did it appear to be entirely separate?
It was on a different panel of the door.
Excellent. This is by far the most important wall for our purpose. It fills me with hopes.
And now I want your advice as to what I ought to do, sir. My own inclination is to put 6 of my farm lads in the shrubbery, and when this fellow comes again, to give him such a hiding that he'll leave us in peace for the future.
I fear it's too deep a case for such simple remedies, Mr. Cubit.
How long can you stay in London?
I must go back today. I wouldn't leave my wife alone all night for anything.
I dare say you're right. Very well. Leave me these papers, and I think that it's very likely that we'll be able to pay you a visit shortly, and to bring with us some very definite news as to the secret of your annoyance. This is the best I can do, Mr. Cubit.
Very well, Mr. Holmes. If any fresh dancing men turn up, I'll copy them down and send them to you immediately. Good day, gentlemen.
Do you really think you can decipher it, Holmes?
Possibly, Watson. These hieroglyphics evidently have a meaning. It's a purely arbitrary one. It may be impossible for us to solve it. If, on the other hand, it is systematic, I have no doubt that we shall get to the bottom of it. I'm fairly familiar with all forms of secret writings, and am myself the author of a trifling monograph upon the subject, in which I analyse 160 separate ciphers. But I confess that this is entirely new to me.
Well, the object seemingly is to conceal that these characters convey a message, and to give the idea that they're mere random sketches of children.
Precisely. A most interesting and unusual case. Now, where did I put my chalk?
It's in your pipe rack. Where else? Here. Catch! Is there anything I can do?
No, not at the moment. This promises to be as pretty a problem as we've ever encountered. It may even be a 4-pipe problem.
4? Oh, good grief. I'll be at my club.
Now, E is the most common letter in the English alphabet, followed by T, A, O, I, N, S, H, R, D. 15 symbols in the first message. 4 are the same, so we set that down as E. Some of the dancing men are bearing flags. From the way they're distributed, they're obviously used to break the sentence up into words. Good. Here we have 2 E's coming second and fourth in a word of 5 letters. Sever, lever, never, never. So, now we have the symbols for N, V, and R. The message has obviously come from someone intimate with the lady in her early life. 2 E's in Elsie. Excellent. That gives us L, S, and I. We progress, Watson. Watson? Oh, yes, the pub. Something M, something E-R-E, something E-S-L, something N-E, something M here, A something E Slane, something. Aha! M here, Abe Slaney. A something E-L-R-I, something E-S at Elridge's? Elridge's. I wonder.
Morning, Holmes. Bumped into the messenger on the way in. There's a telegram for you and another set of dancing men from Hilton Cubit.
Excellent. Give me the letter, Watson.
He says it appeared upon the pedestal of the sundial again. Do you want me to open the telegram?
By all means. It's no doubt from my friend Wilson Hargrave from the New York Police Bureau, who has more than once made use of my knowledge of London crime. If his answer is as I hope, you will have a very pretty case to add to your collection, Watson.
It just says, the most dangerous crook in Chicago.
As I thought. There.
Elsie, prepare to meet thy God.
You've let this affair go far enough. Our presence is most urgently needed at Writingthorpe Manor.
What's going on, Holmes? What do these messages mean?
Our simple Norfolk squire is entangled in a singular and dangerous web, Watson.
Hello? Anyone about?
You must be the doctor from London.
That's correct. We'd expected, then.
I should say so. Inspector Martin's my name, Norwich Division. She's not dead yet, gentlemen, but if you are able to save her, she'll be for the gallows.
The gallows?
What exactly has passed here, Inspector?
It's a terrible business. Mrs. Cubit shot her husband and then herself. He's dead, and her life is despaired of. Dear, dear. One of the oldest families in the county of Norfolk, and one of the most honoured. I'm sorry for not recognizing you at once, Mr. Holmes.
Think nothing of it, Inspector.
But the crime was only committed at 3 this morning. How could you get here so quickly?
I anticipated it. I came in the hope of preventing it.
Then you must have important evidence of which we're ignorant.
Only the evidence of the dancing men.
The dancing men?
I'll explain that matter to you later. Meanwhile, since it's too late to prevent this tragedy, I'm very anxious that I should use the knowledge which I possess in order to ensure that justice be done. Will you associate me in your investigation, or will you prefer that I should act independently?
I should be proud to feel that we were acting together, Mr. Holmes.
In that case, I should be glad to hear the evidence and examine the premises without an instant of unnecessary delay.
The bodies were discovered in the study. There was only the one pistol found in the room, 2 barrels of which had been emptied. Mr. Hilton Cubit had been shot through the heart. Either he shot her and then himself, or vice versa. The revolver lay upon the floor midway between them.
Has he been moved?
We've moved nothing except the lady. We couldn't leave her lying wounded upon the floor.
Excellent. Well, Watson?
Well, Mrs. Cubit's injuries are serious, but not necessarily fatal. The bullet has passed through the front of her brain. It'll probably be some time before she'll regain consciousness.
Can you say whether she was shot or shot herself?
I wouldn't venture to express any decided opinion. Certainly the bullet was discharged at very close quarters.
Inspector, who gave the alarm?
Mrs. King, the cook.
I think we'd better hear her story at once.
Well, Mr. Holmes, I was roused from my sleep by the sound of an explosion, followed a minute later by a second one, only not quite so loud. I rushed into the adjoining room to get Saunders, the housemaid. We descended the stairs and saw the door of the study was open and a candle was burning on the table. The master lay upon his face in the centre of the room. It's quite dead. Near the window, Mrs. Cubit was crouching, her head leaning against the wall. She was horribly wounded. The side of her face was red with...
Mrs. King, did you smell gunpowder?
Oh, yes, sir. The passage was full of smoke, and so was the room. As a matter of fact, I remember being conscious of the smell from the moment that I ran out of my room on the top floor.
Is there an open window?
No, sir. The window in the study was shut and fastened upon the inside.
Then what did you do?
Well, I sent the groom to fetch the doctor and the constable, and then we took Mrs. Cubit back to her room.
And how were your master and mistress dressed?
Well, she was wearing her dress. The master was in his dressing gown over his night clothes.
And you moved nothing in the study?
No, Inspector.
Thank you, Mrs. King. And now, Inspector, I think we're in a position to undertake a thorough examination of the room.
Mr. Holmes, I should just like to say that, so far as I know, there's never been a quarrel between Mr. and Mrs. Cubit. We've always looked on them as a very united couple.
I suppose, Doctor, you haven't recovered the bullet which wounded the lady.
A serious operation will be necessary before that can be done, Holmes.
But there are still 4 cartridges in the revolver. 2 have been fired and 2 wounds inflicted, so each bullet can be accounted for.
Perhaps you can account also for the bullet which has so obviously struck the edge of the window.
What? Why, George, however did you see that?
Because, Inspector Martin, I looked for it. From the splintering of the wood, it is clear the shot was fired from inside the room.
Well, that's wonderful. You're certainly right, sir. That a third person must have been present. But who could that have been, and how could he have got away?
That is the problem which we are now about to solve. Hello? What's this in Mrs. Cubit's bag?
Oh, looks like 15, 18, 20... Oh, it's 20 50-pound notes.
This evidence must be preserved, for it'll undoubtedly figure in the trial.
I rather think, Inspector, that we have now exhausted all that this room can teach us. If you don't mind, I shall open the window and see what fresh evidence the garden has to offer. I thought so. See, the flowers are trampled down, and the soft soil imprinted all over with footmarks.
Yes, large shoe print with peculiarly long, sharp toes.
The revolver had an ejector. And here is the third cartridge. I really think, Inspector, that our case is almost complete.
Whom do you suspect?
I'll go into that later. There are several points in this problem which I've not been able to explain to you yet. Now that I've got so far, I'd best proceed on my own lines and clear up the whole matter once and for all.
Just as you wish, Mr. Holmes, so long as we get our man.
I have no desire to make mysteries, but it's impossible at the moment of action to enter into long and complex explanations. I have the threads of this affair all in my hand. Even if this lady should never recover consciousness, we can still reconstruct the events of last night and ensure that justice be done. First of all, I wish to know whether there is an inn in this neighbourhood known as Elridge's.
Well, there's a farmer of that name lives some miles off, in the direction of East Ruston.
Is it a lonely farm?
Very lonely, Mr. Holmes.
Perhaps they've not heard yet of all that happened here during the night.
Maybe not, sir.
Watson, tell the stable boy to saddle a horse. I wish him to take a note to Elridge's farm.
So you see, Inspector, one might smile at these peculiar drawings had they not proved themselves to be the forerunners of so terrible a tragedy.
Well, well. It's a privilege to be associated with you in the handling of a case, gentlemen. You'll excuse me, however, if I speak frankly to you. You're only answerable to yourselves, but I have to answer to my superiors. If this Abe Slaney is indeed the murderer, and if he's made his escape while we've been sitting here, I should certainly get into serious trouble.
You need not be uneasy. He will not try to escape. To fly would be a confession of guilt.
Then let us go to arrest him.
No need. I expect him here at any instant.
Why should he come?
Because I have written and asked him. And here is the gentleman himself. I think, gentlemen, that we had best take up our position behind the door. Every precaution is necessary when dealing with such a fellow. You will need your handcuffs, Inspector.
Elsie?
Well, gentlemen, you have the drop on me this time. I seem to have knocked up against something hard. But I came here to answer a letter from Mrs. Hilton Cubit. Don't tell me that she's in on this. Don't tell me she helped set a trap for me.
Mrs. Hilton Cubit has been seriously injured and is at death's door.
You're crazy. He was hurt, not her. Who would have hurt little Elsie? I might have threatened her. God forgive me, but I would never have touched a hair of her pretty head. Take it back. Say she's not hurt.
She was found badly wounded by the side of a dead husband.
If the lady is hurt as bad as you say, then who drew this?
I wrote it to bring you here.
You wrote it?
What one man can invent, another can discover.
Oh. I have nothing to hide from you, gentlemen. If I shot Cubit, he had his shot at me, and there's no murder in that. But if you think I could have hurt that woman, then you don't know me or her. I tell you, there was never a man in this world loved a woman more than I loved her. I had a right to her. She was pledged to me years ago. Who was this Englishman to come between us? I tell you, I had the first right to her. I was only claiming my own.
She broke away from your influence when she found the man that you are.
The most dangerous crook in Chicago.
She fled from America to avoid you, and she married an honourable gentleman in England. You dogged her, and followed her, and made her life a misery to her, in order to induce her to abandon the husband whom she loved and respected, in order to fly with you, whom she feared and hated. You've ended by bringing about the death of a noble man and driving his wife to suicide. That is your record in this business, Mr. Abe Slaney, and you will answer for it to the law.
If Elsie dies, I don't care what happens to me.
There's a cab coming to convey you to Norwich, Mr. Slaney. But meanwhile, you have time to make some small reparation for the injury you have wrought. Are you aware that Mrs. Cubit has lain under grave suspicion of the murder of her husband, and that it was only my presence here and the knowledge which I happen to possess which has saved her from the accusation? The least that you owe her is to make it clear to the whole world that she was in no way responsible for this tragic end.
I guess the very best case I can make for myself is the absolute naked truth.
It is my duty to warn you that it will be used against you.
I'll chance that. First of all, I want you gentlemen to understand that I've known this lady since she was a child. There was 7 of us in a gang in Chicago, and Elsie's father was the boss of the joint. He was a clever man, old Patrick.
Was it he, by any chance, who invented a code that would pass as a child's scrawl, unless you happened to have the key to it?
He did. Well, Elsie learned some of our ways, but she couldn't stand the business. And she had some honest money of her own, so she gave us all the slip and got away to London. She'd been engaged to me, and would have married me, if I'd taken another profession. But she'd have nothing to do with anything on the cross. It was only after her marriage to this Englishman that I was able to find out where she was. I wrote to her, but got no answer. After that, I came over and put my messages where she could read them. I tried all I could to coax Elsie away. I knew she read the messages because she wrote an answer under one of them. Then my temper got the best of me, and I began to threaten her. She sent me a letter then, begging me to go away, and saying it'd break her heart if any scandal came to her husband.
She said she'd come down when he was asleep, and speak with you through the end window, if you would go away afterwards and leave her in peace.
The money was a bribe.
Yeah. It made me mad, and I caught her arm and tried to pull her through the window. At that moment, the husband ran in with his revolver in his hand. Elsie sank down to the floor, and we were face to face. I held up my gun to scare him off and let me get away. He fired and I fired, and down he dropped. I ran away across the garden, and as I went, I heard the window shut behind me. That's God's truth, gentlemen. Every word of it. I heard no more about it until that kid came riding up with that note, made me walk in here like a jay and put myself in your hands.
Well, Mr. Holmes, I only hope that if ever again I have an important case, I shall have the good fortune to have you by my side. It's time to go, Slaney.
Can I see her first?
No. No one can see her.
Perhaps you're right, Watson.
Right about what, Holmes?
That I owe you every atonement for having allowed your natural curiosity to remain so long unsatisfied. You see, my dear Watson, it is not really difficult to construct a series of inferences, each dependent upon its predecessor and each simple in itself. If, after doing so, one simply knocks out all the central inferences and presents one's audience with the starting point and the conclusion, one may produce a startling, though possibly a meretricious effect.
I don't know what you're talking about, old chap.
The Hilton Cubit case. Surely you're keen to know how I reach my conclusions?
No, I don't believe so.
No?
No. Regarding the code, I'm sure I can understand how you worked it out, given time, and you explained most of your deductions at the house.
Most?
Yes. Well, all right. I was never too sure how you knew Slaney had been stood at the open window before you even searched the study.
You remember, Watson, Mrs. King said that on leaving her room she was at once conscious of a smell of powder. It suggested that at the time of the firing the window as well as the door of the room had been open. Otherwise the fumes of powder could not have been blown so rapidly through the house. A draught in the room was necessary for that. Both door and window were only open for a very short time, however.
Well, how can you be sure of that?
Surely. You observed the candle was not guttered?
Ah. Well, yes, I believe I noticed something of the sort.
Did you indeed? In that case, it was very tactful of you not to mention it, old fellow. Feeling sure that the window had been opened at the time of the tragedy, I conceived that there might have been a third person in the affair, who stood outside this opening and fired through it. Any shot directed at this person might hit the sash. I looked, and there, sure enough, was the bullet mark.
Yes, but how came the window to be shut and fastened?
The woman's first instinct would be to shut and fasten the window. Remember, Slaney told us he heard the window closing as he fled.
Oh, wait a moment. Mrs. King said she only heard 2 shots, but 3 were fired. Cubitt shooting at Slaney, Slaney shooting at Cubitt, and Mrs. Cubitt attempting to kill herself.
The good Mrs. King said that the first shot, which she described as an explosion, was louder than the second.
The first noise was 2 shots fired at the same instant.
How absurdly simple. I believe that it was undoubtedly so.
And yet the newspapers report that Slaney's death sentence has been changed to penal servitude in consideration of mitigating circumstances, and Mr. Sherlock Holmes' assurance that Hilton Cubitt fired the first shot.
Yes. Perhaps I was not quite so honest as I might have been. But I think you will agree, friend Watson, that there has been more than enough death in this matter.
You have just heard The Dancing Men by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, adapted by M.J. Eliot and starring John Patrick Lowry as Sherlock Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson. Also in the cast were Stephen Waite as Hilton Cubitt, Caitlin Finney as Elsie Cubitt, Frank Buxton played Inspector Martin, with Pam Nolte as Mrs. King and Dennis Bateman in the role of Abe Slaney. Incidental music was provided by Michael Lynch, and our violinist is Coral Sepulveda. Direction was by Lawrence Albert, with production by Jim French. The Classic Adventures of Sherlock Holmes is a copyrighted feature of Jim French Productions. For more information on this and other Jim French production CDs, go to harrynile.com on the web. This is Dennis Bateman speaking. The Classic Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, featuring John Patrick Lowry as Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson. Tonight, The Three Gables.
Mrs. Mary Maberly had lived a retiring existence at the Three Gables in Harrow Weald for nearly 2 years before she was visited by a man claiming to be a house agent. He told her that the Gables would exactly suit a client of his, and that if Mrs. Maberly would part with it, money would be no object. It seemed to her very strange, as there were several empty houses on the market which appeared to be equally eligible. But naturally she was interested, and therefore named a price that was far higher than she would have thought appropriate.
That's quite acceptable, Mrs. Maberly.
It is?
Yes, but there is one other thing. My client would like to buy the furniture also.
All of it?
Yes, all of it. Just name a price. Any price, Mrs. Maberly. Just think what you'd like to do, or where you'd like to live, and how much it would cost. Then name your figure.
Well, I have always wanted to travel, to be my own mistress for the rest of my life. Perhaps another 500?
Done.
Oh.
Now all that remains is for you to put your name to this agreement.
I should like to read it first.
Of course.
Mr. Haynes Johnson?
Yes?
If I'm reading this correctly...
Well, perhaps you're not.
If I'm reading this correctly, if I were to sign it, I could not legally take anything out of this house. Not even my own private possessions.
Yes, that's quite correct.
But I thought you only meant the furniture.
No, everything.
But my clothes, my jewels?
Well, I suppose some concession might be made for your personal effects, but nothing should go out of the house unchecked. My client is a very liberal fellow, but he has his fads and his own way of doing things. I'm afraid it's everything or nothing with him.
Then it must be nothing.
Mrs. Maberly, I urge you to reconsider.
I'm afraid I cannot.
Then God help you, lady. God help you.
I don't think that any of my adventures with Mr. Sherlock Holmes opened quite so abruptly or so dramatically as that which I associate with the Three Gables. I'd not seen Holmes for some days, and was glad to find him in a chatty mood that morning. He had just settled me into the well-worn armchair on one side of the fire when our visitor arrived.
Great Scott!
Which one of you gentlemen is Mr. Holmes?
It's open. Come in. Watson, you can put down the poker.
Are you sure?
Quite. We're in the presence of boxing nobility. You're Steve Dixie, the bruiser, aren't you?
See here, Mr. Holmes. You keep your hands out of other folks' business. Leave folks to manage their own affairs. Got that?
Keep talking. It's fine.
Oh, it's fine, is it? It won't be so damn fine if I have to trim you up a bit. I've handled your kind before, and they didn't look fine when I was through with them. See that fist, Mr. Holmes?
Very impressive. Tell me, were you born so, or did it come by degrees?
I've given you fair warning. I got a friend that's interested out Harrow Way, and he don't intend to have no button in by you. Got that? You ain't the law and I ain't the law. You get my meaning?
I've wanted to meet you for some time, Steve. When you're not displaying an enviable jab, you're one of the Spencer John gang, aren't you?
Spencer John gang? Never heard of it. Anyway, what if I am?
You've taken part in some dirty work of late, which I may clear up when I have time. For instance, there's the matter of the killing of young Perkins outside the Holborn bar. Steve, you're not going.
I won't listen to no such talk, Mr. Holmes. Besides, I was training at the Bull Ring in Birmingham when that boy got himself into trouble.
You can tell the magistrate about it, Steve.
So help me, Mr. Holmes.
That's enough. Get out. I'll know where to pick you up when I want you.
Mr. Holmes, I hope there ain't no hard feeling about this little visit.
There will be, unless you tell me who sent you. A drink, Watson.
It's a little early for me. No, thank you, Holmes.
There ain't no secret about that, Mr. Holmes. It was Mr. Stockdale.
Yes. I've had my eye on Barney Stockdale for some time. And who set him onto it?
So help me, I don't know, Mr. Holmes. All I know is it's somebody pretty big. Even Mr. Stockdale's afraid of him. He just said to me, Steve, you go see Mr. Holmes and tell him his life ain't safe if he goes down Harrow Way. That's the whole truth.
I see. That'll be all, Steve. My landlady will be in touch with regard to the damage to the door.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Good grief. I've never been so scared in my life.
Steve is really rather a harmless fellow. A great, muscular, foolish, blustering baby, and easily cowed, as you saw. His immediate principal, Barney Stockdale, is a more astute person, however. They specialize in assaults, intimidation, and the like. I wonder who's at the back of them on this particular occasion.
I thought you said you didn't have any cases on hand at the moment.
I don't, Watson.
Then what on earth was this invasion all about? Why does someone want to intimidate you?
I assure you, I have no idea. I haven't been near Harrow in months. Perhaps something in my correspondence might suggest a reason.
Your correspondence? Holmes, you haven't even opened these.
It's a free country, Watson. People have a perfect right to send me letters, and I have a perfect right not to read them.
Ah, here we are. Postmarked Harrow Weald. Dear Mr. Holmes, I have had the succession of strange incidents occur to me in connection with my house, the Three Gables, and I should much value your advice. You would find me at home any time tomorrow. I believe that my late husband Mortimer was one of your early clients. Yours faithfully, Mary Maberly.
I remember Mortimer Maberly very well. It's some years since he used my services in some trifling matter.
Oh, so that's that. Are you going?
Oh, yes. Steve's visit decides me to look into the matter. If it's worth anyone's while to take so much trouble, there must be something in it. I suggest we wire her and go out at once. If the present Mrs. Watson can spare you for the day, that is.
But what do they want, gentlemen?
Well, that's the question, Mrs. Maberly. Who owned the Three Gables before you?
A retired sea captain called Ferguson.
Anything remarkable about him?
Not that ever I heard of, Doctor.
You don't happen to have a Raphael or a First Folio Shakespeare without knowing it?
No, Mr. Holmes. I don't think I have anything rarer than a Crown Derby tea set.
would hardly justify all this mystery.
Yes, that's how I read it.
Dr. Watson agrees, so that settles it. Has any object just arrived?
No, I bought nothing new this year.
And yet we have this comic interlude with Steve Dixie, warning us off coming to Harrow Weald.
The matter is certainly obscure. I think we'd best let matters develop a little further until we have clearer data.
This house agent fellow, did he give you any address?
Simply his card and occupation. I still have it here.
Yeah, thank you. Haynes Johnson, auctioneer and valuer. Holmes, someone's listening at the door.
I know, Watson. I don't think we'll find him in the directory. Honest businessmen don't conceal their place of business. I shouldn't be at all surprised, in fact, if Mr. Haynes Johnson turned out to be our friend, Barney Stockdale.
In my house?
Very possibly. Watson, walk slowly to the door and open it. Now, let us see whether by this purely mental analysis we can get it to a finer point. Have you been in this house a year?
Nearly 2.
Ha! Got you!
Leave me alone! What are you doing?
Susan, what is this?
Oh, Mum, I was coming to ask if the visitors were staying for lunch when this man jumped out at me.
I've been listening to your maidservant eavesdropping behind the door for the last 5 minutes, Mrs. Maberly. Just a little wheezy for that kind of work, aren't you, Susan? You breathe too heavily.
Who are you, anyhow? What right have you of pulling me about like this?
It was merely that I wished to ask a question in your presence. Mrs. Maberly, did you mention to anyone that you were going to write to me?
No, Mr. Holmes, I did not.
Who posted your letter?
Susan did.
Susan, to whom was it that you wrote or sent a message to say that your mistress was asking advice from me?
It's a lie. I sent no message.
Now, Susan, it's a wicked thing to tell fibs. Whom did you tell?
I remember now. I saw her speaking to someone over the hedge.
But that was my own business.
Suppose I tell you it was our old friend, Barney Stockdale.
If you know, what do you want to ask me for?
I didn't know, but I do now. Well, Susan, it'll be worth £10 to you if you tell me who's at the back of Barney.
Someone that could lay down £1,000 for every 10 you have in the world.
A rich man, then.
I'll see you in hell before I tell you anything.
Susan, I believe you're a wicked, treacherous girl.
I don't give a tinker's cuss what you think, you stuck-up old cow. I'm clearing out of here. I've had enough of all of you.
Mrs. Maberly, is your lawyer a capable man?
I'm sorry, Mr. Holmes.
Your lawyer?
Yes, Mr. Sutro is most capable.
Have you another maid, or was the fair Susan who's just banged your front door alone?
I have another, a young girl, Violet.
I see. She must send a telegram asking this Sutro to spend a night or two in the house. You may want protection.
Against whom?
That's for Dr. Watson and I to discover. We have taken up your case, and you may rely upon it that we shall see it through.
Indeed. Mr. Holmes and I are at your service.
Watson, we must be getting upon our way. Mrs. Maberly, you'll let us know if there are any fresh developments.
Of course.
Mrs. Maberly, those trunks and cases in the corner, the labels say Milano and Lucerne. These are from Italy.
They belonged to my son, Douglas.
Are you the mother of Douglas Maberly?
You knew him?
Only slightly. But of course all London knew him. Where is he now?
Dead, Mr. Holmes. Dead. He was attaché at Rome, and he died there of pneumonia last month.
I am sorry. One could not connect death with such a man. I've never known anyone so vitally alive. He lived intensely, every fibre of him.
Too intensely, I fear. That was the ruin of him. You remember him as he was, debonair and splendid. You did not see the moody, morose, brooding creature into which he developed. His heart was broken. In a single month, I saw my gallant boy become worn out and cynical.
A woman?
Or a fiend. But it was not to talk of my poor lad that I asked you to come, gentlemen.
And you've not unpacked his things? How long have you had them?
They arrived last week.
Last week? Perhaps there might be something of value here.
There could not possibly be, Dr. Watson. Poor Douglas had only his pay and a small annuity.
Delay no longer, Mrs. Maberly. Have these things taken upstairs to your bedroom. Examine them as soon as possible and see what they contain. I will come back tomorrow and hear your report. I see him, Watson. The Three Gables is evidently under very close surveillance. Steve Dixie!
Mr. Holmes!
I gave you fair warning this morning.
Yeah, I've been thinking over what you said, and I don't want no more talk about the affair of young Perkins.
Then tell me who is behind you on this job.
So help me the Lord, Mr. Holmes. I told you the truth before. I don't know. My boss Barney gives me orders, and that's all.
Bear in mind, Steve, that the lady in that house and everything under that roof is under my protection. Don't forget it.
Well, I must say, Holmes, you've got Steve Dixie thoroughly frightened for his own skin.
Yes, I think he'd double-cross his employer if he knew who that was. There's a great driving power at the back of this business, and since we're unsure just what Steve, Barney, and Susan are after, we must approach the matter from the other end and try to get its mysterious principle.
And how do you propose to do that?
I shall visit Langdale Pike.
In the Lake District?
Not the Langdale Pikes, Watson. Langdale Pike is a human book of reference upon all matters of social scandal.
Well, that can't be his real name, surely.
Of course not. He's a scion of one of the oldest and noblest families in the country. His father disinherited him when he became an actor and changed his name. These days he spends his waking hours in the bow window of his club in St. James Street and acts as the receiving station as well as the transmitter for all the gossip in the metropolis.
You know the oddest people, Holmes.
As it happens, we were at university together. This strange, languid creature makes a 4-figure income by the paragraphs he contributes every week to the garbage papers which cater to an inquisitive public. If ever, far down in the turbid depths of London life, there is some strange swirl or eddy, it's marked with automatic exactness by this human dial upon the surface.
And on those occasions you turn to your old friend for knowledge?
Discreetly, Watson. I shall see him when we return to London. I have no doubt I'll soon be clearer, and we may be able to bring this matter to a swift conclusion.
Mr. Holmes, please return to the Three Gables at once. I have been burgled in the night. The police are in possession.
The drama has come to a crisis, Watson, and quicker than I'd expected. Fool! 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 Why didn't I examine Douglas Maberly's luggage when I had the opportunity? Now the devils have whatever they were after. And I imagined I'd scare them off, and instead I placed my own client in danger. I'm growing careless, Watson.
I blame myself, Holmes. I should have spent the night on guard instead of this lawyer chap.
Sutro. The fellow has clearly proved a broken reed.
Well, it seems there's nothing for it but another journey to Harrow Weald.
Mr. Holmes, no chance for you in this case, I'm afraid. Just a common, ordinary burglary, and well within the capacity of the poor old police. No experts need apply.
I'm sure the case is in very good hands, Inspector Jones. Merely a common burglary, you say?
Quite so. We know pretty well who the men are and where to find them. That gang of Barney Stockdale.
The Spencer John gang?
Quite. Well, they've been seen around here.
What did they get, Inspector?
Very little, Doctor.
Oh, Mrs. Maberly. Are you all right? Please sit down.
I'm just a little weak.
The lady was chloroformed, gentlemen.
You look wretchedly ill, Mrs. Maberly. Perhaps you're hardly equal to telling me what occurred.
You gave me good advice, Mr. Holmes. Alas, I did not take it. I didn't wish to trouble Mr. Sutro, and so I was unprotected.
I have written everything down here, gentlemen.
Still, if the lady is not too exhausted...
There is really so little to tell. I've no doubt that wicked Susan had planned an entrance for them. They must have known the house to an inch. I was conscious for a moment of the chloroform rag being thrust over my mouth, but I have no notion how long I may have been senseless. When I woke, one man was at the bedside, and another was rising with a bundle in his hand from among my son's baggage, which was partially opened and littered over the floor. Before he could get away, I sprang up and seized him.
You took a big risk.
I clung to him, but he shook me off, and the other may have struck me, for I can remember no more. Violet heard the noise and began screaming out of the window. That brought the police, but the rascals had got away. Oh, Mr. Holmes, I neglected your advice, and I've paid for it.
Mrs. Maberly, what did they take?
Well, I don't think there's anything of value missing.
Did you search your son's luggage?
Yes, but I'm sure there was nothing of any importance. But there was one sheet of paper which I may have torn from my attacker's hand. It is in my son's handwriting.
Which means that it's not of much use. Now, if it had been in the burglar's hand...
What rugged common sense, Inspector. Nevertheless, Mrs. Maberly, I should be curious to see it.
I have it here, Mr. Holmes. I never pass anything, however trifling. This is my advice to you, sir. There is always the chance of fingerprints or something.
Or something, yes. What do you make of it, Inspector?
Seems to be the end of some queer novel.
The number on the top of the page is 245. What are the other 244 pages?
Well, I suppose the burglars got those. Much good may it do them. I imagine that in their hurry the rascals grabbed at what came first to hand. I wish them joy of what they got.
Why should they go to my son's things?
Well, they found nothing valuable downstairs, so they tried their luck upstairs. That's how I read it. What do you say, Mr. Holmes?
I must think it over, Jones.
Holmes? Yeah.
Oh, of course, Watson.
Thank you. Let's see. His face bled considerably from the cuts and blows, but it was nothing to the bleeding of his heart as he saw that lovely face, the face for which he had been prepared to sacrifice his very life, looking out at his agony and humiliation. She smiled. Yes, by heaven, she smiled, like the heartless fiend she was as he looked up at her. It was at that moment that love died and hate was born. Man must live for something. If it is not for your embrace, my lady, then it shall surely be for your undoing and my complete revenge.
Mighty poor stuff. I certainly wouldn't have read it. Are you off, Mr. Holmes?
I don't think there is anything more for me to do now that the case is in such capable hands, Jones. By the way, Mrs. Maberly, I believe you said you wished to travel.
It has always been my dream, Mr. Holmes.
Where would you like to go? Cairo? Madeira? The Riviera?
If I had the money, I would go round the world.
Quite so. Round the world. Well, good morning. I may drop you a line in the evening. Come along, Doctor. Back to London.
These clever fellows always have a touch of madness, they do.
Now, Watson, we're at the last lap of our little journey. I suppose you see it all clearly.
And I can't say that I do. I only gather that we're going to see the fellow who's behind all this mischief.
I think we'd best clear the matter up at once, and it would be well that you should come with me. Cabby! It's safer to have a witness when you're dealing with such a lady as Isadora Klein. Driver, take us to Grosvenor Square.
Isadora Klein?
What is this intrusion and this insulting message?
I need not explain, Frau Klein. I have too much respect for your intelligence to do so, though I confess that intelligence has been surprisingly at fault of late.
How so, sir?
By supposing that your hired bullies could frighten us from our work. Surely no man would take up this profession if it were not that danger attracts him. It was you, then, who forced me to examine the case of young Douglas Maberly.
I have no idea what you are talking about. What have I to do with hired bullies?
Yes, I have underrated your intelligence.
What do you want?
In the first place, you must give back the manuscript.
Shall I give these back? The ashes from the fire? You are welcome to them.
I see. You are very prompt in your actions, Frau Klein, but you have overdone it on this occasion. That seals your fate. Well, good afternoon.
Where are you going?
To Scotland Yard. You read my note. If you won't talk to me, I must talk to the police.
Please, sit down, gentlemen. Let us talk this matter over. Some refreshment?
From steel to velvet. No, I think not. Watson?
No, thank you.
I feel I may be frank with you, Mr. Holmes. You have the soul of a gentleman. How quick a woman's instinct is to find it out. I will treat you as a friend.
I cannot promise to reciprocate, madam. I am not the law, but I represent justice so far as my feeble powers go.
Oh, no doubt it was foolish of me to threaten such brave men as yourselves.
What was really foolish, madam, is to have placed yourself in the power of a band of rascals who may blackmail or give you away.
I am not so simple, Dr. Watson. Since I have promised to be frank, I may say that no one, save Barney Stockdale and Susan, his wife, have the least idea who their employer is.
And you've tested them before?
They are good hounds who run silent.
Such hounds have a way, sooner or later, of biting the hand that feeds them.
The police are already after them for the burglary at the Three Gables.
They will take what comes to them. That is what they are paid for. I shall not appear in the matter.
Unless I bring you into it?
You would not. You are a gentleman. It is a woman's secret.
Isadora Klein, the celebrated beauty, pure Spanish, the real blood of the masterful conquistadors. Your people have been leaders in Pernambuco for generations. You married the aged German sugar king, Klein, and presently found yourself the richest, as well as the loveliest, widow upon earth.
All this is well known.
But what is not so well known is the interval of adventure, when you pleased your own tastes. But of your many lovers, Douglas Maberly, one of the most striking men in London, treated your relationship as more than an adventure. He was not a society butterfly, but a strong, proud man who gave and expected all. But you are the belle dame sans merci of fiction.
You have been talking to Mr. Langdale Pike, or should I call him Lord Peter?
When your caprice is satisfied, the matter is ended. And if the other party in the matter can't take your word for it, you know how to bring it home to him.
The manuscript. It was his own story.
Watson is beginning to piece it together. You are about to marry the young Duke of Lomond, who might almost be your son.
You are no gentleman, Mr. Holmes.
Only one of my many faults, I'm afraid. Another is that I am immune to sentiment. His Grace's mother might overlook the age difference, but a scandal would be a different matter.
May I tell you the whole story?
I fancy I could tell it to you.
You must look at it with my eyes, Mr. Holmes. You must see it from the point of view of a woman who sees all her life's ambition about to be ruined at the last moment. Is such a woman to be blamed if she protects herself?
The original sin was yours.
Douglas was a dear boy, but he could not fit into my plans. He wanted marriage. Marriage with a penniless commoner. Oh, nothing less would serve him. Because I had given, he seemed to think that I must still give. And to him only. It was intolerable. At last I had to make him realize it.
By hiring ruffians to beat him while you watched?
You do indeed seem to know everything. Well, it is true. Perhaps Barney and the boys were a little rough in driving him away, but what did he do then? Could I have believed that a gentleman would do such an act? He wrote a book in which he described his own story. I, of course, was the wolf, he the lamb. What do you say to that, Mr. Holmes?
I would say he was within his rights.